Good day. Okay, so as many of you know, we are in the middle of a geoelectromagnetic storm, and I live in Oaxaca, Mexico. And so we're down by the equator, and our data has been off and on. It's been crazy. And so I'm going to record this informational content for you so that we can have it since we've already had to reschedule once. So welcome to the Great Solar Maximum. And its associated data and so far glitches all over the place, including Mandela effects and matrix glitches, which are awesome. That part excites me. The part where it messes with my data is sometimes irritating, but I am excited about the changes that are happening, about the literal reset to this reality. That part really excites me, which segues into energy and our health. So for me, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chandra LaCost. I'm a registered nurse, 24 years. I started my medical world education about 4 years before that. So that ages me a little bit, doesn't it? So I've been in the medical field for about 28 years now. So my specialty of advanced practice in regenerative medicine, cellular biology, cellular treatments, including exosomes, stem cells, biofrequency treatments, laser lights, those kinds of things. Okay, so for myself, over the years of training and teaching and, oh my gosh, all the different things I've done in healing, what I have learned with patients that come to me that have chronic illnesses or something that appears to be unhealable. All the doctors say, you have nothing left. There's nothing more we can do. We have no more pills to give you. Chemo won't work. Yeah, whatever it is. What I have found with those patients is that 100% of the time, they've never been talked to about energy, about the energy in their body, about how energy affects them, about the radiation in their environment. So our body is energy. Everything about everyone and everything is energy. There is really nothing physical in this reality. It's all magnetic forces. So when you bring it right down to the atoms, the electrons, and all of those things that are working together, all that's going on here is just energy fields that the magnetic force prevents them from going through one another. And so once you start to understand quantum physics, and you understand how that applies to the human body, you start to understand how the radiation is affecting us, how this light is interfacing with my biological form, how the radiation from my Wi-Fi transponder is interfacing with my body, right? So it's already proven that 3G on up radiation is causing cancer. Okay, so a lot of us, we already know that, and so we wear EMF protection. I've got EMF protection on the back of my necklace. You guys are, I use this as a moldavite and quartz crystals set up in a certain way to make them to where it transmutes the radiation. But there's different things that you can do to protect your energy field. Okay, so if you understand that everything is energy, including you, and that the way that your biology responds and the way that it grows and it heals is affected by the energy around you, then you start to have to look around you and say, okay, what energy am I consuming right now? That includes radiation from your television, the radiation from your phone, the radiation from everything, the radiation from the solar storms that are coming at you right now. Are you hydrated enough to receive that energy, right? A lot of you are feeling really tired right now, are feeling very drained. And usually that's just, you need some vitamin C. Yeah, you need some vitamin C. And you need to be drinking enough fluid, be it decaffeinated fluid, that your body can receive that energy and transmute it appropriately. Most people, they aren't drinking enough fluid to be going pee every 3 to 4 hours. You should all be drinking enough fluids, decaffeinated, unprocessed, no refined sugars, fluids, to be going pee every 3 to 4 hours during your waking hours. Most people aren't doing that. So those are just really easy things. But let's segue into the biofrequency healing, which is what we're excited to talk to you about today. So biofrequency healing is where we're using the biofrequency energy field to assess a person's body for illness. So we have in our body recorded that we can look at with what we call Kirlian camera, or we can read with these biofrequency readers. We have meridians and chakra systems that are our energy field that is easily recorded, that then directly correlates to our organ systems, our vascular system. Everything about our system is connected into that energy. So in the USA, it's just now being something that we're talking about. But in Russia, in Malaysia, in Thailand, people are first thing they do is they put them on a bioscanner. Let's see what's going on in their energy field. Because if there's a blockage in your energy field, then your biological form is unable to heal. And so if we just give you pills and we just mask your symptoms, then your body's unable to heal and you continue with that disease process. And so we have people that have what seems to be incurable diseases, but they really are curable. It's a matter of knowing how to address the illness. And any illness, when I'm dealing with anybody, I start with the energy. What's going on with your energy? Make sure all the energy fields are open. Open the meridians, open the chakras. Teach the person how to do that themselves, right? Okay, so how does the Solex AO biofrequency scanner work? Okay, so several of you have already sent me your selfies or face pictures, the case may be, and an audio clip. And so what the AO frequency scanner is doing is when you have a digital image, the digital camera is picking up all the energy in your field when you take that picture, right? So that's the energy field, the frequency, the IP address of you, okay? And so then we're also getting an audio recording. And in your audio recording, you have your voice also putting out those frequencies that are going on within your body. So through those two recordings that we have of you, we're able to tap into your biofrequency, which is like your IP address. Now, for those of you who already know about things like Reiki, quantum healing, metaphysics, and all of that, then you can understand how once we have that kind of information, we can tap into the biofield. We can then determine through your frequencies where your meridian blockages are and so on and so forth, what kinds of illnesses you might be having right now, right? So this is a differential diagnostic tool. But also, we have learned that we can heal things through frequency. So where your frequency may be off balance in some places, we can feed the right frequencies in to then balance so that your biological form can then heal faster or heal at all. Sometimes people just are unable to heal because they have so many negative frequencies or blockages in their biofield that they're unable to heal. So we do your biofrequency scan, which taps into your IP address. And then it does an optimization of your frequencies through its quantum connection with your frequency field. And then it sends us back a list of differential diagnostics and potential issues that you may need to deal with on a biological basis, be that through supplementation. It's frequently, hey, increase your water, right? Or change the kind of oils that you're eating, those kinds of things. For myself, I've been working with biofrequency scanning technology since 2017 or 2018. The first company I worked with was Regen-U3. And their system required you to put a paddle on your wrist and a little sticker here. And the person sat there and we got the frequencies. And then it gave us a list of right frequencies to play for them for their healing. And we had beautiful results. I've seen so many miracles just with frequencies. Nothing else added, just frequencies. Just here's your differential diagnosis list. Here's your frequencies to balance it. And then boom. Person who's had incurable explosive diarrhea for their whole life all of a sudden has solid stools. People who've had all kinds of different autoimmune issues, all of a sudden they go away. So, some people have just pure, I want to call them medical miracles, but true healing just from frequency healing. And so a lot of people choose after they realize that to actually go ahead and buy themselves a system or, get themselves in a membership with someplace that has a system so they can just optimize their frequencies daily or weekly, depending on what their health situation might be. So the system that I'm working with now, it's called Solex AO scanner. And that system, you're able to work with people anywhere in the world remotely. I no longer have to put stickers on them or paddles on them. And it is just as accurate, if not more so. The system that I worked with before never gave me people's blood dynamics or things like that. It did give me a lot of differential diagnosis for sure. And it was always very accurate. However, this one is like, it goes all the way into what your cholesterol is doing, what your hormones are doing, and all the different differential diagnosis for other things as well. So now this program, when it gives you your diagnosis codes, what I have found is that for me, it's a great tool because I am a health practitioner. A lot of people purchase the system or will subscribe to a system or whatever and have no idea what any of these things are. And so that can be a little overwhelming for sure. What I do like about Solex is that if you do decide that you wanted to do any kind of membership with them or get involved with them, they have people like myself who are happy to do patient education or client education or do consults that discuss the medical side of things if you have questions. So let's go over the biofrequency scanning app and what I have done with your guys' scans. So first off, I want to show you just how easy this is. We'll go ahead and we'll do a scan on myself. This one here. So this is my phone. And I'm logged in. This is what the app looks like. And so I am already here, but just for your guys' thing. This is the screen that I entered all of your guys' information into. And so it's the person's name, their first and last name, their gender, their height, their weight, their date of birth, picture, and then a 10-second audio recording. Now, I already have myself in here, so I'm going to open this on myself and we'll do a quick scan on me so I can walk you through what your guys' results were that you got at home in your email addresses. So search existing client, find me. Momentum. Oh, refresh my sign in. Momentum. Okay. New existing. No. Existing. Okay. So here is me. And this is my drop-down list of things. And so with you guys, I did the inner voice scan, the vital scan, and a comprehensive scan, which is actually a lot more than I'll be doing for a lot of groups in the future if I end up getting more than just like 5 to 10 of you, because to enter these takes me some time. So unless some of you guys want to like sign up to volunteer as we get bigger, I'm going to keep these pretty simple. The inner voice scan, you can update the inner voice to get more updated information as you go if you have this app. If you don't have this app and you're in, for instance, my system, and I wanted to do a weekly optimization, it'll optimize you based on your current, IP address, so to speak, and it'll send you back out the frequencies that you need that are associated to what it has in the system. You should have received in your emails. You should have received audio files of the frequencies that are specific to you and what you need. And so you will listen to those with a headset, ideally once a day. Okay, so now I'm just going to click inner voice here. This is the screen that it pops up. And then I'm going to click here. And it's going to ask me to give it a 10-second audio recording. Press one moment. My name is Chandra LaCost. I'm a regenerative medicine specialist. I love God. I love my community. I love my children. I love my cats. Anyways, whatever you want to say. All right, so now it's doing a scan. You can see it's scanning obviously this is just a caricature for that purpose, but it's scanning right now my frequencies of my voice. So actually this is going through the musical notes of what my voice is I'm putting out, and it will give information about my psychosocial emotional status as of right now when it gives me this report in just a moment. And so now you're going to see this is why it takes me so long to enter you guys, because now it's got to go through this. through this, it's going to go ahead and it's going to pull up a thing called an inner voice report. My inner voice report is going to be based off of my vocals and the frequencies that it records off of my vocals, and it's going to make some suggestions based on that, including chromotherapy. So those of you who haven't heard of chromotherapy, here we go. Chromotherapy is the use of color for therapy. So for instance, let's say that you're going to go and give a speech and you're kind of shy. And so you have a problem with your throat chakra being shut down. The throat chakra is very associated to the color blue. And so when you have the color blue around you, it tends to help keep your throat chakra more open energetically. So if you were a person who had a problem with communication, you might find yourself intrinsically drawn to wearing blue. Or if you're going out to do a public speaking event or something like that, you might feel drawn to wear blue. If you're somebody who's very heart-centered or needing to be heart-centered, you might find yourself drawn to wearing pinks and greens and things like that. Like I tend to wear a lot of pink and whites and stuff like that because I'm very open and loving, and those colors allow for me to project love and energy out. Now, if I was protecting my energy, I might be more likely to wear black or red. And those colors are very protective. They protect your chakras. So there's a lot of things to do with chromotherapy or color therapy that most people are unaware of, the therapeutic effects of the colors that they're wearing. So it's done with my scan. Now it's giving me this, and I'm going to click reports. Just one moment. It's going to pull up a report for me that I can email myself. Okay, so this is what your report will look like. I'll scroll through here with you. Maybe it'll let me. My ring light's getting you. Let's see. So on your reports, you'll see that it gives you 4 main areas that you may need to work on. And it's going to give you the colors that would be best to help you with that. And so, for instance, where it's suggesting to me to wear magenta, it's also suggesting these cool sunglasses. Okay, so Solex sells a set of, I think it's, I'm brand new to the Solex merchandise thing, but they sell a set of sunglasses that has all the different colors. So you could actually just put on some sunglasses for your chromotherapy, which is pretty cool. But alternatives to that is wearing those colors, eating foods rich in those colors. I would really suggest that people, if you have like throws for your living room or different colored bedspreads, sheets, or nap blankets or whatever it is, pillowcases, to have a full rainbow, at least those 7 base chakra colors available to be able to change that out as you need for the chromotherapy aspects of it. So anyways, you can go through this. On this part, it just talks about your emotional stuff. Like for me, sadness versus inner peace. I have a lot of sadness about what's going on with the planet right now, so I can see why it would suggest that. Let's see. It says that I have emotionally disconnected versus emotionally integrated. Definitely, it goes right on into that. It's so hard to be connected in on this global scale. Like I normally am just like, I'm connected to everybody. And right now I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many people I just need to be disconnected from. So I definitely can understand that. Let's see, what else does it suggest for me? Let's see. It says to reflect on my rigid beliefs versus my being open to possibilities. I can see that. I'm a very religious woman. Yeah. Let's see. So it's suggesting that I wear blue, magenta, and gold. So now we're going to get out of this thing. Oh no, before we get out of that, let me show you. So this also, as it's done that, it's created tones for healing. So here, we'll go ahead and push play. And then we'll see, it'll push play. And so then it creates frequencies, and it'll sound something like this. Which, by the way, with the headset is like very much just makes you just kind of go into a nice trance. But you can play this before bed, first thing in the morning, in the background, whenever it is that you feel guided. If you're somebody who's chronically ill, it'd be good to play these multiple times a day. Go ahead and look it out of here. So Now, after I have done somebody's voice scan and that's been entered in, then I can get out of there and then I can do what we call a vital scan. So I'll make you back. Okay, yeah, that's good. So the vital scan goes over your food sensitivities, your allergies, your chakra systems, your gastrointestinal functions, your meridian systems, your nutritional analysis, and your physical functionality. And so I'm going to click scan. And so it's going to scan. And so this is doing a combination of scanning my voice and my image. And we'll be getting a accurate read on what my biologics are doing right now. So this should be interesting. Now, I had some blood work drawn, a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and I had done my scan like the day before. Then I went and got my blood work drawn, and everything in the scan that showed like a little bit like out of whack was the same in my blood work, which I already knew that was the way it was going to be, honestly. But I had my father, I actually scanned him, and he didn't tell me that he'd been recently ill or any of that, and I found all of that on there. Saw that he was exposed to influenza and he was having some inner ear stuff, and I have a friend who was having some blurred vision and nausea, and did his scan and found some obstruction behind his eyes, and did his frequency treatments. His nausea was able to go away, and he was able to bring those scans into his doctor to assess him for what was going on with the vascularity behind his eyes. So I've had a lot of really interesting, well, I say, beautiful experiences with this because it is so accurate. It's a great first line diagnostic tool. I mean, obviously, when you're dealing with frequencies, you always want to, look at like, what if this person was exposed to a frequency but isn't actively biologically expressing that issue? Like, for instance, you could have been like really, really like hugging close with somebody who's recently had a disease process. And so that frequency might give you a mild spike on your biofrequency because their frequency is in your energy field. And so whenever I'm doing a biofrequency scan on somebody, I always let them know, it's like, when we've just scanned you, this is predominantly all you, but if you've got somebody that you're really close to, their frequency is in your frequency. So let's monitor this. Let's follow up with your lab work. Let's follow up with your assessment. What's going on with you and your symptoms? Because you can be exposed to the frequencies of different things and have them show up without them actually being biologically expressed through you. And so that's something important to know about using biofrequency scanners, because if a biofrequency scanner comes up, oh, you've got herpes, or it's like herpes, by the way, if it shows up as herpes, it could be a cold sore on your lip. Okay, it's not mean that you have an STD, and it could say that you were exposed to gonorrhea, and it could mean that you were exposed to it years ago and you just have the frequency for it still in your system. So or that you were hugging on somebody that has gonorrhea, and so you want to like check your biologics next to what your frequency is saying. Okay, so anyways, so after it's done your scan, you click optimize frequencies and optimize, and then it goes through and it gives these lovely frequencies for optimizing. This is restrictions. Please wait for your existing request to finish. Okay, un momento, por favor. Easy. And then I click Enhance Reports. This gives you two options for reports. It gives you Classic Report and Enhanced Report. Now, I am a clinician, and so I choose the Enhanced Report. Why? Because this Enhanced Report gives me a scale of 1 to 9 of the frequencies that have been read in this person. And so for me, it would be important to me to know even if they had a borderline, like close frequency showing up. Okay, so, the one that's just your classic is only going to show you the things that are out of alignment for people. So something important to know about this with the frequencies, for the system to be able to give you a normal range, something that's normally supposed to be a 0, is considered like normal to be nothing, right? It's a normal thing for you to have no toxins in your system. It's a normal thing for you to have, no mercury in your system. So if you have 0 of it in there, the normal is 5, okay? So then let's say that you have something that you have a trace amount of, but you have a minor amount of it, it's abnormal. So you could have a 1 on the frequency, say for mercury. Let's say you had immunizations that you had mercury when you were younger. And so the mercury is still running in your system because you can't get rid of it unless you've had chelation, right? So you show up with a 1 or a 2 or 3 or anything other than a 5 for that mercury, and or whatever else, if you go over into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or no, not 10 but 9, it's showing that we have a frequency showing there that you have been exposed to, and you have the frequencies for mercury in your system. And it's showing then also, as it's showing you here, diminishing function risks or increasing function or increasing inflammation risk. So for instance, let's say this person has a little bit of mercury in their system, a little bit's too much. And so we're getting a 1 or a 2 or a 3 on this person because it's diminishing their function, right? But let's say that same, like a different person though, they might have the same amount of mercury in their system, but it might cause them to have inflammation and other issues. And so they might show more on the 6, 7, 8, or 9 on that particular thing. So what that's showing you though, is it diminishing their function? Is it like, for instance, if it was a GI thing, is it causing them to slow down their intestinal absorption, or is it causing them to increase it? Is it causing them to have inflammation, or is it causing their body to shut down? And so that's what that scale is right there. So for me, I'll go through here. This is my screen. So you'll see there's two rows of numbers. The numbers in the gray are before the optimization frequencies were sent out. So this is after it scanned your facial picture, and it scanned your voice, and then it sent the optimization frequencies back along your IP address, right? And so then it comes up with this these new set of numbers, and those numbers on the white are the numbers that we're predominantly looking at, but we're always wanting to, as clinicians, look at both sets of numbers. Because this is just based off of energy frequency modification. And so this patient, if they're failing to continue with their energy medicine, so listening to their sounds, the soundtracks that we sent them, so on and so forth, they're going to very easily fall back over here into this gray level. Okay, so this is something important to be like, okay, here's what's going on. Here's how we can handle this from frequency place. Here's what we can do with your diet and your exercise. Here's what we can do in general to help you heal. All right, so this is showing me, for instance, that if I'm eating butter, that it's going to speed me up. But if I eat cheese, it's going to slow me down. See, it's a 2. And, we know that's true about most people, right? So it shows those kinds of things. Something important about food sensitivity testing with frequencies and in general, actually, depending on the wellness of your system at any given moment of any day. The foods that are good for you one day may not be the same foods that are good for you the next. And foods that you might be sensitive to this week may be different next week because of what your body needs. So, right now, green beans might not be that great for me. But, right now, with all of the solar storm energy coming through and all that, I do a lot better with more like oatmeal and fresh fruits, So that's high energy time right now. So, and I understand that. And so for me, meat is bad for me, and I know that to be true, but it makes my system bog down, and it makes me get sick and causes biofilms and causes all kinds of stuff. But if you look here on there's lovely system, it also is telling me meat is bad for you, Chandra. So yeah, so let's keep going here. So as we're moving through here, we'll just bypass the food stuff. So I think you guys kind of get the point on that. Like this is saying, hey, Chandra, coal is bad for you. And coal is bad for all of you guys. Let's see. Very rare circumstances that cola would be a good thing. And it's usually just for melting down some things. Let's see. Sorry, I'm having some data slowing my lab down right now. Okay, so the next panel here says blood lipids. My blood lipids are normal right now, which is awesome. But last week, before I got my blood work drawn, they were a little bit elevated. And so I actually did some things to modify that. I started increasing my garlic intake and taking my olive oil and avocado oil instead of soy oil and vegetable oil and all that kind of stuff. And so it balances out really quick with the lipids. Let's see here. So as we go through, sorry guys, my screen is freezing, which is why I'm recording it like this, but girl. Anyways, the next section here goes over like your omega fatty acids and things like that. The stuff that's in the center, that shows like a trigger is just things that you should pay attention to, whether you need to adjust your diet and your exercise or things like that. That's where having a healthcare professional help you with these readings can be very helpful, but also you can just look up what each of these things is. It's like, oh, hey, my white blood cells are high. What's that mean? It probably means that I've been subjected to some form of an infection agent recently, and so my body is currently defending itself, right? I personally feel just fine right now, but oftentimes your body's first defense is to increase your white blood cells. So if you saw that on your scan, if you're feeling just fine, you should go and support your immune system with some vitamin C, some glutathione, some fresh juice, so that you are able to keep yourself from having any issues. So the next section goes over your chakras, and it has a lot of education for you to read, which will be in your report. So I will refrain from going over all of that for you. After that, we're going into gastrointestinal function. This talks about things like if you're having colon peristalsis function, colon absorption, so whether or not your bowels are actually absorbing the food and the fluids that you need appropriately. Intestinal bacteria, if you have healthy intestinal bacteria. If you find that this one's out of whack, then taking some probiotics would be good for you. This talks about things like your sedimentation rate, which has to do with your inflammation and how you respond to injuries. All of those things in here you find on your typical complete metabolic panel when we draw your blood. And so when we're looking at these things, this gives us an indicator of where to look at the biologics of the person. So far, everybody that I have worked with that has had blood work done either right before or right after one of these, it's been like spot on. So just a minute. So it goes over your amino acids. It gives you, for instance, right here, it's showing me that, where'd that go? Oh, stop freezing. Oh, darn it. Sorry, my screen's freezing up for you guys. Okay, come back to my amino acids. Okay. So it's not wanting to let me show you my amino acids. Of course you want to show me your amino. Okay. So, on my amino acids, it's showing me that I have like low, have high glutamine and I have low histidine and serine. So for me, I'd want to go and look up like what supplements would I want to take for the histidine and serine. Regarding the glutamine, I know that I'm personally taking a supplement, and I just took a supplement this morning to purposely keep my glutamine in my, I actually take glucosamine, not glucosamine, sorry. I take GABA, arginine, glutamine, and glutathione. And vitamin C every day for anti-aging and for supporting my immune system. So I always trigger high on the glutamine or the arginine if I've scanned myself within a couple hours of taking my supplements, which I always find interesting too. So I just got done drinking a whole huge liter of raw cocoa and milk, and so my calcium trigger's high because I have a huge amount of calcium in me right now. So those kinds of things, you'll find that if you're really wanting to get a really good read on somebody, it's probably best to do it like first thing in the morning when they're fasting and they haven't been around other people, just because that kind of stuff shows up. But I find it interesting regardless, and of course I have free access to. I don't want to say free access. I have my membership and my affiliates thing going on here, and I'm a clinician, but I have open access to this. So I can go ahead and be like, oh, well, that's interesting. Let's do this in a few hours and see whether or not the glutamine still shows spiked, right? Most people, they go and they spend $140 to $200 for a session. And so going over all of this piece by piece and then having the discussion about how to address each of these things. So I'm going to go ahead and hop out of here because I gave those of you who've received your reports, I made you each audios and went through what I saw in your reports. So I'm going to go out of here and show you the next thing we can do with this report. Maybe if my scanner is being helpful, let's see. You found me. Okay, my system freeze. That's irritating. It's freezing on me. Just one moment, guys. Maybe the powers of the universe will let us back in. Let us back in. Okay, so the next one that we have on here is this comprehensive scan. And as you can see, there's like a long list of different things we can do for people with this, including we can scan for radiation frequencies in a room. So I can take a picture of a room and it will get the energy frequency of that room. If there's heavy amounts of 3G, 4G, 5G, whatever else radiation going on, then it will give me the frequencies to play into that space to neutralize that energy to make it to where it's a healthy, energetic space for us to be in. So we have that here for areas. We have that here. Also, you can scan your animals and you can help them with their frequencies as well. Let's see here. So the comprehensive scan goes into your vascularity. So it will actually show the veins, it'll show your veins, your nerves, your bones, your eyes, all of that. First, you gotta get, okay. And so this is what that screen will start to look like. And then you just click combined. And then say scan. It'll go through the whole scan process again. And this is using the information that it's already accumulated from your voice and from your visual image, and then also from its last scan. So it's collaborating all that information together, and we'll be assessing the meridians associated to each and every one of your major vessels, your major nerves, your bones, your organs, all of that. We'll give you a comprehensive report. And yeah, there's been so many just amazing things that have happened from this. The gentleman who was first training me was telling me the story about a friend who was having a stroke, who started playing the frequencies just on optimize because he was in an emergency situation. And this system had found exactly where his stroke was in his brain. And so when he got to the emergency room, he showed that to the doctor, and the doctor was able to take him straight in and save him. So yeah, it's like a lot of amazing things that you can do with this system, especially like in the emergency medicine situation where sometimes it takes hours for emergency responders to get to you, if at all, right? Let's see. So anyways, right now, it's doing a comprehensive scan of my vascular system. It's probably going to say my nose is stuffy. Well, I already know it's going to say that because it's 7 million, but it showed on my, and I didn't get to show you that because it was frozen, but like my olfactory nerve is hyperactive right now because all the rain and everything, putting all the different pollens and various things out. Everything's so green here, and it's usually brown, but it also means it comes with all this pollen and other allergens. So just one moment. We're just going through our scheme. Right now it's scanning my large intestines, my organ details. This part takes longer than the outbound. So I guess I could talk to you a little bit more about energy and quantum field. So for those of you who are unaware of the quantum field, about the human consciousness grid or the consciousness grid at all, we should probably talk about the 100th monkey test and split strand theory and all that kind of stuff, so you can understand better about how we can be able to do healing from a distance. The 100th monkey test was done by scientists who were realizing and trying to figure out how is it that we got electricity on so many different places of the world at the same time when we had no cell phones, we had no telephones, we had no any way to communicate with each other, but yet we had electricity go up everywhere at the same time. And when we had telephones come in, we had telephones come up everywhere at the same time. And I was like, well, how did that happen? And it was about the consciousness grid. It was about how we are all tapped into that same Akashic consciousness grid. Just one moment. Looks like my report is done, so I'm going to click optimize. And optimize. Try to cooperate. Okay, so it was about how we're all connected into that same consciousness grid. And so when the idea for electricity came in, when the universe, I don't know how much you guys want to go into God versus aliens versus whatever, when the powers that beam ideas down into humanity and have decided it's time to evolve us to this next level, started beaming that information in, it was beamed into people at each continent at the same time. And so because we share this consciousness grid, and then certain ones of them had enough gumption to actually go forward and do something with it. And that's why we have similar plugs, we have similar everything, because it was put into the minds of those people who learn to meditate, clear their mind, and allow for the creator source energy to give them those ideas and to put them into action, right? So the 100th monkey test was to determine, if this set of monkeys over here on this side of the world were given sweet potatoes, so they gave them boiled sweet potatoes, and then they threw them in the sand, right? And so the monkeys, of course, they love sweet potatoes, but they don't want to eat the sand. And so at first, they'd just be like, we could do anything with this. But then one or two of them figured out they could rinse the sweet potato and then they could eat it. And so they'd take it over to the stream, they'd rinse it, they'd eat it. Hey, yay. So then this whole tribe of monkeys on one side of the world learned how to rinse their sweet potatoes and as they eat them. So then they took another set of monkeys on the other side of the world and they gave them the sweet potatoes and they threw them in the sand, expecting that it should take months for them to figure it out, because it took the other group months to figure it out. They knew almost instantly. They knew instinctually, because it had gone across their consciousness grid. Hey guys, when we have sandy or dirty sweet potatoes, let's rinse them off. And so now all the monkeys of that same species on the other side of the country, or another country of the world, were having a positive, experience right away. They could eat those sweet potatoes. They knew what to do. And so in similar fashion, they said, gosh, that's fascinating. Look what we just found out about monkeys. Is this true about humans? And so what they did next was they took groups of college students, and I don't remember which country it was. Oh, it was like Australia and then Spain or something like that. They took groups of college students and they had this poster that had hundreds of faces, but you could only see like 6 or 7 of those faces, outright. And so at first the students were just like, oh, no, I only see like this many students. They say, how many faces do you see on this? And, it's a very simple little question. And so they'd say, well, I only see 6 or 7 or 8 faces. I say, okay. So then they took the whole group of students and they said, okay, now we want to show you this poster again. We want to show you there's actually hundreds of faces, or how many faces, And so they went through and they showed them where all the faces were on this sheet. And so they said, okay, so now all these students, they all now knew that there were 100 faces on this page. And they said, okay. So now they went to the college of the other country. And this time they took those students and they showed them the poster. But those students, almost every one of them, were able to find all kinds of faces in there right away, because it was in their consciousness grid. This is how we learn things instinctually. This is how one human can master something, intrinsically, eventually, the other humans master it. And so if we can teach enough people the truth, if we could teach enough people about healing with energy, if we could teach enough people about, just anything, it will eventually become instinctual. But also it's important to know that shows that we're all connected. There's a connection there, right? And, I don't know if you've ever just sat and thought about somebody and then later that day they messaged you, or maybe even just right then they messaged you, or maybe you were, thinking about whatever it is, and then it just seems to manifest around you. Yeah. So that's how this reality works. And so we have this whole energy field, and you can tap into that energy field. And that's called quantum science. And so the other part, we're still doing my optimization scan. So now you guys know why it takes so long to do these. But okay. Let's see if I can report yet. Okay, there we go. So the other experiment that was done was called the split strand experiment. I'm going to go find that for you, put links for you. But the other experiment was showing that particles of energy, they react and they form themselves in the way that our consciousness expects them to. So scientists took this is called the split light experiment. They took two splits inside a metal sheet, and they threw protons through it, right at a wall, right? And expecting to get two perfectly straight lines against the wall. But if the person or the scientist was observing it, they got what they expected. When they left the system alone and there was no one observing it, they got scattered energy. And so that right there tells you about the power of concentration and about our focus and how what we focus on expands and turns into reality. So that protons and neutrons are responding to our conscious attention to what they're doing. And so, there's a lot to the quantum energy field and all of that I'd like to explore with you guys over time. Okay, so this is my scan. Let's see. So I'm going to just zoom in here. And you can see that it's just basically giving, what my blood flow is to my different vessels in my head. And then it goes into, over here, it'll show you, right now it's freezing. It'll show you, it says percent from ideal. Okay, so obviously you'd like to be 0% from ideal. We all want to be ideal, right? Okay, so I want you to know that most of us over the age of 25, we're going to be, 25% or more away from ideal, just because we've been so exposed to so much radiation, so much just different pollutions and things like that. Most of us are lacking in knowledge about DNA activations, energy protections, and things like that. And so we will be out of whack. And but there's a lot of things you can do to fix that. Hydration, meditation, energy frequency medicine, solfeggio which is frequency medicine, but look up solfeggio. So this goes over your chromosomes, the health of your chromosomes, your DNA, health of your DNA, keeping in mind that as we age, the telomeres on our DNA start to frazzle out. And so to repair those, again, we're right back to that energy healing, hydration, supplementation. So this goes through like my eyes right here. I am nearsighted, so it shows that on here. Second, it goes through your lymphatic vessels, and all of that tells you if you have any blockages. Let's see. And this is freezing down on me. Goes over like your kidneys, all of your organ systems, and it breaks it down into like the vessels of, the nerves of, the arteries of, and then gives you a general idea of what's going on with all of that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll let you guys look at your own because these are really, really inclusive. And so after that, last thing that you should have gotten, there is one other fun report. If I can convince the system to cooperate with me, just a moment. My last name. There we go. There's me. Okay. So there's this thing called the Body Systems Report. So I'm going to Body Systems Report. I'll just go ahead and say scan and optimize. So the body systems report will basically take the most critical things that are happening in all of your combined reports and then give you some suggestions based on Solex's medical team, which will include suggestions for supplementation, for diet, for mindfulness practices, things like that. So it will create you a list of things. It will create you a list of possible things that you might have been exposed to or are exposed to that are causing what's going on, and give you a list of things that you can do to, or give you some things that you can do to balance that out. And so it's again doing a scan. And so this will go through all of my systems and it will create as a lovely little report. And so as you can see, it's a lot of information for the standard person to have. The great thing about the system is that it just creates the optimization frequencies for you. And so there's no like guesswork in it. But as a clinician, another thing that's awesome about the system, and as a mother, is that it does have a library of frequencies and things that you can choose to optimize. So if you know somebody has a particular issue, if you know, just point blank that you need to be playing frequencies for parasites or whatever, it does have those in here in the Cephi library, which we'll get to after this. But right now, it's just going through, pulling all my reports together to create me one lovely summary report. So, let's see. But anyways, let's see, what else can we talk about with energies? So, in the quantum field, a lot of people, what they have a difficult time with energy healers, quantum healers, Reiki healers, whatever you want to call them, it's all the same. Whether you want to call it Reiki, quantum healing, metaphysical healing, spiritual healing, holy fire, hands-on healing, it's all the same thing. It's all 100% the same thing. You're tapping into the energy field to bring about healing, to pull in the healing frequencies for that person. It's all the same thing. I'm a quantum healer. I'm a Reiki master. I'm a priestess. I'm whatever you want to call me. I'm a healer, right? I know how to do these things without this machine. But this machine allows for me to have anybody else be able to do it too. So I love this machine because it takes the woo-woo out of it. Because, before I started with this business and before I started with biofrequency healing in general, I was known for miracle healings amongst my patients. But it's because I'm filled with the Holy Spirit by Christian terms. I'm filled with pranic energy, by whatever you want to call it. I channel source creator energy and I bring those healing frequencies into people. I'm one of those hug healers. Some people, they just, I can just hug them and they heal. But how do you explain that scientifically? It's like, we don't know, just bring them to Chandra. Now I can be like, wow, there is science behind that. And while it would be great if I could just hug all of you, since you're not readily available right here for me to hug you all, there is technology that taps into that quantum field. The thing about the technology, obviously it has specific criteria to it that the system is tapping into. Obviously, if you're dealing with somebody who is a wide awakened quantum healer, whatever healing frequencies you need just come naturally. There's no needing to discern it. It's just you need healing, here's your healing. God will deal with it, or source, or creator, matrix generator, whatever you want to call it, will deal with that energy transfer, however it's needed for that person to heal. But now we can do energy transfers through an app. It's less trippy for people. It's less trippy for people who need science. They're like, I need science. Okay, here's some science for you. Now that you have the science, you can be happy. Here's your science. But if you'd like, I'll also pray for you. So anyway, I'm still doing my scan. There's definitely some things that the system hasn't got in its list of things that it's checking for, such as maybe energetic attachments and things like that are blocking you down, that you may still want to talk to me on the other side of this from a not so scientific approach. But even that's scientifically proven. The CIA has declassified the truth about interdimensional beings and their attachments and how they interact with people. So that's even scientifically proven, honestly. But it's still kind of scary for some people to think that there could be other beings or energies that are interceding in somebody else's energy field. But if you feel like that's the case for yourself or somebody that you love, I do know that there's people like myself and others that work with it, do exorcisms and things like that to help to free that person from that energy so that they can step into their life purpose and so they can fully heal. Still scanning. I think that this one's probably the longest one. This is doing my human cells and mitochondrial emotional awesomeness. So anyways, let's see more about this company. So AO Scan company by Solex. It's actually Solex is AO Scan. Like I said earlier, they sell those awesome sunglasses. They sell supplements and things like that. But also these frequencies in the Cepheid library, they can be used, on the person. They can be I'm sorry, a second. They can be imprinted on things that can record frequencies, such as crystals or into water. Here, so this is my comprehensive scan, and this gives me like a breakdown, including some education. This is like about your circulation system, your connective tissue, so on and so forth. And so here it gives me like connective tissue. It says like some things that I might have issues in. It's saying my intercarpal ligaments and my right posterior talofibular ligaments are having some issues, but that's because I have been on a form of modified bed rest for this last 2 weeks, and so I haven't been stretching as much as usual. Let's see. This here also says some of the issues from my connective tissue causes could be from my vaccinations in my past. It talks about some herbicide toxicity, so maybe something that I've eaten recently might have some herbicides on it, and I would go and consider doing a really deep vitamin C flush protocol. That's exactly what I do. Ways to improve. It says vitamin C, of course. Let's see. So through my digestive body, it's saying that I have some slowdown in my GI system. Let's see. I should consider massages and a parasite cleanse. Oh yeah, I was just thinking about a parasite cleanse this morning. So anyways, so it goes through the different things and what each of your body systems are, if you had any, what if any frequencies spiked as something that you should take a look at, and then gives you some ideas on how things to do to cure it. Now, what I want to tell you is that when it's giving you something like causes or potential causes, like for instance, like if you have, a good example. Let's say that you have some issues with your hidden menopause or whatever. Okay, so you're having some female issues, and so it says your uterus and all that, your endometrium's out of whack, all this. But let's say that it gives you a list of all these different things that could cause it. This isn't saying that you have those things that could cause it. If it says that potential causes are, potential HPV exposure, potential gonorrhea exposure, potential chlamydia exposure, that's exactly what that is. It's potential for. It's like you may have been. If you didn't see those frequencies pop up over in your scan, this is just giving you a list of things you could potentially have been exposed to in the past that you may still need to work on clearing out. And you may never have been exposed to them at all, because this right here is more of a general education tool. And so let me get out of here. So the last part I want to show you on here is the Cepheid library. Sorry, my fingers, I wear lots of oils, guys. Let's see. So the Cepheid library looks like this, and you can create custom playlists. Like for myself, I've created playlists that includes abundance of wealth and health and success. And believe it or not, that's a frequency. EMF shield, focus, immune support, inner peace, memory loss, focus. Let's see, successfulness. That was the self-esteem one. Let's see. Let me find the health and wellness one. Okay, so like I created a general hepatitis virus and parasite cleanse. Because many people have never had a parasite cleanse. And so I created this and I project this one out for anybody that pops up with parasites in their scan. It's an EMF shield, and it includes parasite killing frequencies and things like that. The thing to know about using frequencies to kill parasites or to kill bacteria is you need to know the life cycle of that parasite or that bacteria, because this frequency is generally geared towards the adults reproducing parasite, bacteria, virus, so on and so forth. And so, for instance, if you had a parasitic infection, I'd tell you, please listen to these frequencies for 2 weeks. If you're unable to get your hands on spironolactone or on some wormwood tea, depending on where you live, you should be doing a parasite detox once a month. And you should, if you live someplace that has chemtrails, you should re-up that anytime you see those chemtrails and you get that weird rain or whatever other weather. And right now, with all these weird hurricanes and stuff going on, those parasites, they reproduce in that mud and all the nasty thing that's happening. Stay on top of your antiparasitics, stay on top of your vitamin C, stay on top of your frequency treatments, your EMF shields, your various ways that you can protect yourself from what's happening right now. So anyways, I think that about wraps this up. If you guys are interested, if anybody's interested in learning more about the Solex system as far as becoming a clinician and how to use it, go ahead and let me know. I'll put a link in the description. You can get some more detailed information on that, but I think that was my 2 cents worth. So anyways, God bless you. Namaste.